Hey guys, Bubba here with the BubbaNews, all in one word, all in one news. How are you guys doing tonight? It is the end of the week. It is now Friday night going into Saturday morning. I'm recording this at midnight Eastern time, but today I want to talk about Ezekiel 38:39 because we've got Turkey's new threat, and I'm going to keep it real. And this stuff is fascinating, but remember, prophecy is like a puzzle, and the pieces are falling into place. And we still don't see the full picture. And what is that big full picture? It's God's timing. But tonight, what I want to talk about is why it feels like the setup is right now, October 2025 vibes, regarding Ezekiel 38:39. It's not here yet, but the prophecy hinges on Israel dwelling securely in unwalled villages. And the word securely is used 3 times there in Ezekiel 38, 8 verse 11 and 14. But all the current chaos with Hamas and Hezbollah Iran are threatening all the calm. Because we've got Trump's 20-point peace plan. The ceasefire is holding for now, but an international stabilization force, Arab-led and UN-backed, is going to roll in for terror-free reconstruction. But we've also got Mohammed bin Salman visiting the White House on Tuesday, November 18th in a couple weeks. So we've got these Saudi fingerprints on the normalization talks, so peace looks possible. But you know what? There's so much else going on, and we're going to talk about that here in a second. But, I'm doing this tomorrow night, Sunday evening, afternoon, evening at 6 p.m. with Isaiah 153. I'm going to do a live stream with him, but I'm actually going to go down to Evansville, Indiana, and see him, and we're going to do this live stream together. So that's going to be a lot of fun. So tune in there tomorrow, Sunday, at 6 p.m. And I'll throw in the live stream in the description box below. And you know what? The signs of the end times are not near. They're here. And I'm going to talk about, first, I'm going to start off with Turkey. Then we're going to segue to talk about the Venezuela gig with everything going on with the USS Gerald Ford moving in, the aircraft carrier strike group. This is not just for drug running speedboats. This is something much bigger, and I'm not sure what that's going to be, but we're going to talk about that, and we're going to get back to Turkey with the whole Gog of Magog thing, and then we'll end it off with Trump, and these are crazy times, like Chris over there at Global Rapture Watchers talks about. This is getting nuts, and I'm going to continue saying that. It's Nutty Professor going on right now. Actually, we don't need that one right now because that's part of what they're sending to Cyprus. And all of a sudden, Bubba, you are a mess. Let's get over here to the Telegram. Here we go. We need to get it sideways, I guess. So here we go. Let's do this. You know what? Turkey's in talks with Qatar and Oman to buy used Eurofighter jets. And we've got to watch Turkey, because what is Turkey preparing for? He visited Oman there on Wednesday, and Turkey wants to buy Qatar's Eurofighter Typhoons to speed up the acquiring of the advanced 4.5 generation fighter jets. And Turkey wants these Eurofighter jets as soon as possible. So we're going to have to keep an eye on that. Turkey wants 40 of the Eurofighters as a 4.5 generation stopgap for its Air Force until it finishes its brand new made in Turkey indigenous stealth fire, the TF Khan. And they still want to acquire the 5th generation F-35 Lightning IIs from the USA, but Turkey wants all 24 of Qatar's Eurofighter Tranche 3A aircraft, and Turkey's purchasing 16 more additional brand new aircraft of the Tranche 4 models. But Reuters reported that Turkey wants to buy 12 used fighters from Qatar and Oman in addition to meet its immediate needs. So I'm not sure what this immediate need is all of a sudden. But speaking about another immediate need, this is going on down in Venezuela, because Nicolas Maduro yesterday, he addressed a group of workers in Caracas, ordering the entire working class to declare a general strike and arm themselves if foreign forces like the USA attempt an invasion, aiming to spark a new, even more radical revolution. So Maduro positioned the workers as the greatest shield of the country, quote unquote, issuing a direct command saying, if they dare, the USA, take this as an order. The order is given. And Maduro envisions millions of workers forming armed combat bodies alongside the Bolivia, the militias there and their national armed forces ready with rifles. So that's just kind of crazy town. But other types of crazy town is going on over there in Israel. The U.S. military has started flying surveillance drones over Gaza. So they're patrolling the skies, but you know what? Hamas has done this in the past, and they've shot down Israeli drones. I think it would be crazy town, Nutty Professor, if they shot down one of the USA drones. And basically, the USA wants to see firsthand what Israel's been seeing daily in Gaza for the past few years. And the USA doesn't want to have to depend on Israel for their images. The United States wants to see it themselves. So what's the latest on the Ford Carrier Strike Group coming to Venezuela? Well, it's on its way. And it was docked in Croatia there this week, but it had been in the Mediterranean for approximately 3 weeks prior to receiving the order to come to the Caribbean yesterday. And it only entered the Mediterranean there on October 1st, passing the Strait of Gibraltar. So traveling at carrier speeds, typical aircraft carrier speeds of 20 to 30 knots, the transit across the Atlantic to the Caribbean is estimated to take 5 to 7 days, probably about a week, probably around Halloween time. Tell me that's not nuts right there. But, that it'll place it in there after Halloween in position by early 2025. And this will be in addition to the existing major U.S. buildup in the region. They've already put in, since August, 10,000 troops, 8 warships, and land-based F-35 jets that were deployed there in August of this year. And I'm going to keep this short, but the U.S. says it's enhancing its force presence. But, the USS Gerald Ford Group was called the most capable, adaptable, and lethal naval mission package in the world. So what's really going on? Because this amount of firepower going in is not to deal with just drug boat running. A carrier strike group is not needed to sink these go-fast boats. That's what drones and helicopters and destroyers already handle, no problem. So analysts across the board, even being reported from CNN to Reuters to the International Crisis Group, calls this a seismic reordering of the U.S. forces. So what's this all for? I don't know. I'd like to hear your comments in the comment section below. Why do you think the USS Gerald Ford and all this naval and air firepower is coming? Well, one thing I do know is Psalm 16:11 there. That's actually really neat because it reminds me of the KJV 16:11. But you will make known to me the path of life. In your presence is fullness of joy. And in your right hand there are pleasures forevermore. This is an outstanding verse right there in Psalm 16:11. In your presence is fullness of joy. Wow. You know what? Being in the presence of the Lord Jesus Christ and having the Holy Spirit with us, that's a major, it's a major presence of joy right there. It's so beautiful. Let's get back to the news here, and we're going to get to some more Bible verses towards the end again. But you know what? This was really interesting because Trump held a summit today on Air Force One alongside the Emir of Qatar. So Trump was on the side of the Emir of Qatar, and they met in Air Force One, and they took a flight around Qatar. And he said the ceasefire will hold with Gaza and Israel. Otherwise, we, the United States, will deal with Hamas very harshly. Trump said, I hope for Hamas's sake that they keep their word. They gave us their word. If not, Hamas will have a very big problem. Trump said after the meeting with the Emir of Qatar that a different force will soon be deployed in the Gaza Strip. We're going to talk about that. They're all setting up for the ISF, which is the International Stabilization Force, to go into Gaza. So let's go to this video, and I'll show you what they're talking about.
I'm starting because you're in my country, so I want to welcome you, Mr. President. And as soon as I found out that he's coming to refuel, I said, I'm not going to allow him to take off unless I come and say hello to him. So thank you very much, Mr. President, and it's always good to see you.
Well, the Emir is one of the great rulers of the world, not just the Middle East. He's beloved and respected by his country. I don't know what's more important, being beloved or respected?
Both.
You have a preference? Because you have both. You're one of the few. And the Prime Minister has been my friend and a friend to the world. And we've done a lot together especially in the last year. What we've done is incredible. Peace to the Middle East. and they were a very big factor in it. So I just want to thank you. I was thinking, we're landing here, we're going to fuel up, and it's such an honor to have you on the plane. I know you don't do this often.
Never, first time.
I don't think he's ever done this, actually, but it's an honor. We have a great, he's a great ally, they are a great ally, and these are two great men. And as long as we're together and you have those cameras rolling, I want to just say we express our thanks, and you have a safe Middle East right now, and you're going to keep it that way for a long time.
Well, so
For a very long time. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you,
Appreciate it.
guys.
It's a great honor to have
Thank you.
them on the plane.
Trump sure knows how to butter up his guests that he's getting ready to talk business with before it gets going. But, you know, Qatar, I don't know if they're going to be part of this, but I have a feeling they're going to be part of this multinational security force that's outlined in Trump's 20-point peace plan for Gaza. And it involves Arab and international partners, including Qatar, right there, the UAE, Egypt, Jordan, Indonesia, and Azerbaijan to secure the Gaza Strip, and train a new Palestinian police force, oversee the demilitarization of Hamas, good luck with that one, and support reconstruction after Israel withdraws. So this international security or stabilization force is going to create a quote-unquote terror-free Gaza. But the implementation hinges on Hamas's disarmament and the Israeli approval. And speaking about the Israeli approval, this ain't getting good with Turkey, because this is a full-on Ezekiel 38 being set up. Here's President Erdogan. "O Israel, the moment of your death is coming. You can have as many bombs, nuclear bombs, as you want. Have whatever you want. You're a goner." So Turkish media recently listed specific military targets in Israel that they're planning on taking out. The targets listed in Israel is the Urim Signet base there, Tel Nof, and the Netafim air bases. And these house the construction of the Arrow missile defense system. The Arrow 2 and the Arrow 3 that have taken out the Iranian and Yemenis ballistic missiles. Also, their high-class intelligence unit 8200, tank and artillery munition depots, and the critical elements like F-15, special ops teams, and long-range drones. But you know what? It also specifically, what they did was they listed the Sdo Micha base. And this is the site where the nuclear warheads are placed on Israel's nuclear-tipped Jericho 2 and Jericho 3 missiles. This is what the Turkish media says Turkey is going to hit. And the Turkish media continued saying Israel will have no choice but to kneel in front of Turkey. The Turkey-Israel war is now unavoidable. Quote unquote, "Within 2 years, we may witness extraordinary things. Within 1 to 3 years, there will be such a war in this region. We do not war, but we, Turkey, will strike Israel first." You know, Turkey's eager to play a key role in the Gaza reconstruction and wants to send Turkish forces to monitor the Gaza ceasefire. But Israel will not allow the Turkish forces to enter Gaza because Turkey's pro-Hamas. All the Hamas bigwigs were there in Turkey on October 7th, and they were bowing down and worshiping Allah, and they were watching the live on TV of the attack going into Israel. And Turkish troops on Israel's border, well, that's not good news. And we've got to keep an eye on that, because I have a feeling they're going to be marching into Syria and Lebanon to come against Israel in the north. But that could be leading up to the Ezekiel 38-39 war. But I have a feeling they're going to use some of their own men first that are going to be part of the Psalm 83 war that kicks off before that. But Netanyahu told the USA Turkish presence in Gaza is a red line for Israel, and they will not allow it. So the U.S. has accepted the Israeli veto on the Turkish military presence in Gaza. But according to other sources, Turkey is still working on deploying soldiers in Gaza as part of this international peacekeeping force. Now, President Erdogan said that Israel is violating the Gaza ceasefire and should be hit with arms embargoes and sanctions. So this is a major reminder that Turkey remains very hostile to Israel, and Israel should do everything to keep Turkish forces out of Gaza. And this came out today as well, and there's more Ezekiel 38 vibes, because this is an interesting report, because Israel has deployed to Cyprus more of Israel's advanced Barak MX air defense systems. And this has a range of 400 kilometers or 240 miles. So this air defense system has the ability and capability to intercept UAVs, drones, unmanned aerial vehicles, even fighter jets and cruise missiles. And this is interesting to me because this is a new layer of defense for Israel, as the air defense system is placed between Turkey and Israel. You can see how they're right there in between. So this is a new layer of defense. But check it out. Erdogan's getting bold because he's insisting that Turkey to have a role in solving the global conflicts. He insists that Ankara, Turkey plays a role in solving all major conflicts around the world, noting the conflicts in Syria, Ukraine, Russia, and Gaza. He said, "We're going through a painful period. The wars threaten our environment," Erdogan said. "From Syria to Gaza, from the Gulf to the conflict between Russia and Ukraine, there is no equation without Turkey being in the mix. Now there is a Turkey in the region and in the world that is reputed for its promise and exports peace and stability or security," Erdogan says. So now Mr. Erdogan wants to be portrayed as the new coming peacemaker. Not Mohammed bin Salman, not Trump. We've got Erdogan. So Turkey is transforming into a global power with the decisive steps it's been taking. Now today, when it comes to peace, harmony, and stability, Turkey comes to mind first, is what he says. When it comes to compassion and justice, this saintly nation first comes to life in the minds, he says. Erdogan has big plans, though, for one of his sons to become a global ruler in the days to come. I don't know if you guys know that. And he wants to rule the world in the coming future. And we need to watch Turkish President Erdogan's second son, Bilal Erdogan. But that's a whole nother story that I should probably do a video on. But you know what? The comments come after Israel told the USA that the presence of Turkish troops as part of a post-war stabilization military force in Gaza would be a red line for Jerusalem. But speaking of red lines in Jerusalem, Trump tonight posted, "We could have everlasting peace, but Hamas must return the rest of the American bodies. There are still 2 American men that are being held there in Gaza. We have a very strong peace in the Middle East, and I believe it has a good chance of being everlasting. Hamas is going to have to start returning the bodies of the deceased hostages, including 2 Americans, quickly." So we're going to have to keep an eye on that, because he's talking about a strong peace in the Middle East. It has a good chance of becoming an everlasting peace. Hamas is going to have to return the bodies of the deceased hostages, including 2 Americans, quickly, or the other countries involved in this great peace will take action. That's talking about the International Stabilization Force. Egypt, Jordan, Azerbaijan, those guys. The UAE, Qatar. And some of these bodies are hard to reach, but others, he's talking about the deceased bodies, but others they can return now. And for some reason, Hamas is not. Perhaps that has to do with their disarming, but when I said both sides will be treated fairly, that only applies if they comply with their obligations. Talking about Hamas. Let's see what they do over the next 48 hours. I am watching this very closely. So this is Trump talking about, he's going to watch to see what's going on, because he just landed there in Malaysia, and he just started his Asian visit. Oh, man. When the mouse is away, the cat will play, I guess. When the cat's away, the mice will play. But you know what? With the Bible, the more you study it, the less you can be deceived by this world. And that's what I'm doing, is I'm using the Bible as my reading glasses to see everything that's going on, because the sign of the times are here. Or, you know what? They're not near. They're here. But here's the range of that Barak system there in Cyprus, the radar range, and then here's its actual shoot down range. So, you know, it's basically putting a border, an extra layer of protection there to Israel's north. But this is also why I believe on the right side of that image into Syria, which is why I believe Turkey's been moving more and more stuff into that central and region of Syria, more down towards where Lebanon, the N, ends at the very last letter of the word, towards Damascus. So he's going to be bringing in a lot more stuff, I believe, to be able to attack. I mean, this is Ezekiel 38:39, Turkey's new threat, but here's some verses I wanted to show you because an enemy is coming from the north. And whether or not that's Turkey or if that's Turkey's operatives there in Lebanon, Hezbollah country, or Syria, I believe it's going to be part of the attack and the invasion into Judah and Jerusalem in the next few days, few weeks, few months. Wail, O gate, cry, O city, he's talking about Jerusalem. Melt away, O Philistia, Gaza, Hamas, all of you, for smoke comes from the north, and there is no straggler in his ranks. How then will one answer the messengers or the representatives of the nation of Israel? That the Lord has founded Zion, and the afflicted of his people are going to seek refuge in it. What? Zion, which is what? Jerusalem. Something's coming where the Jews are going to have to flee, I believe, to Jerusalem for safety and protection. Here's another one, Jeremiah 1:11 through, what is that? We're going to finish off, I believe, with 19. And these are just conjecture verses, but you know what? I see this as a secondary possible fulfillment of prophecies that are coming up. Like right here, verse 11, the word of the Lord came to me saying, what do you see, Jeremiah? And I said, I see a rod of an almond tree. There has Jewish idioms right there. And this is, I love Jeremiah 1:12. Where God said, I am watching over my word to perform it. He's watching over all the prophecies that he put out front and center, 2 to 3 to 4,000 years ago. And they're coming to pass daily almost. The verse 13, the word of the Lord came to me a second time and said, what do you see? And I said, I see a boiling pot facing away from the north. And if you're facing away from the north, you're facing south and you are facing Israel. Verse 14, then the Lord said to me, out of the north, the evil will break forth on what? On all the inhabitants of the land. What land? We're just talking about Israel. For behold, I am calling all the families of the kingdoms of the north. It almost sounds like this is the Ezekiel 38:39 scenario, declares the Lord. And they will come and they will set each one his throne at the entrance of the gates of Jerusalem, and against all its walls round about. That's the Hebrew word sabib. These are all the neighboring nations of Israel today, including the ones to the north, Lebanon and Assyria, and against all the cities of Jerusalem, again, Judah there, again, another prophecy. I, God, Yahweh, will pronounce my judgments on them concerning all their wickedness, whereby they have forsaken me. Those people of the north, they have forsaken Yahweh God, and they have offered sacrifices to other gods. What do they do when they do their killings of other people, and especially Jews? They do this in the name of Allah. This is a sacrifice. And they're worshiping the works of their own hands, which is what? Their military might, their drones, their rockets. Verse 17, now gird up your loins and arise and speak to them all which I command you. Do not be dismayed before them, or I will dismay you before them. Now behold, I have made you today as a fortified city, and as a pillar of iron, and as walls of bronze against the whole land. To the kings of Judah, to its princes, and to its priests, and to the people of the land. I believe God's going to empower Israel in these wars. Verse 19, they will fight against you, but they will not what? Overcome you. For I am with you to save you or deliver you, says the Lord. I believe this has a dual fulfillment of a prophecy coming up here very soon with the attack from the north. Jeremiah 4:6, lift up a standard towards Zion, seek refuge, do not stand still. For I am bringing evil from the north and great destruction. The day is coming, guys. Zechariah 12:2, behold, I am going to make Jerusalem a cup that causes reeling or trembling to all the peoples around about, or all the peoples around. Again, it's a Hebrew wording, sabib. When? When the siege is against who? Jerusalem. It will also be against Judah. So there's going to be an unsuccessful invasion into Israel, and they're going to surround Judah and Jerusalem and want to take them over. And here's the Hebrew wording, sabib. Places round about, the circuit, those round about. From every side. This is exactly what we're talking about. And to the north is just two of those sides. I mean, you've got the north with Hezbollah and Lebanon, and then you've also got the north up there with Syria. But then you've got the east with Jordan and parts of Iraq, the children of Lot. Then you've also got the south that we have to look at here in the future, because we all know, we've talked about this with the big military buildup in the Sinai there of Egypt. But I have a feeling something's coming with Saudi Arabia, and they're going to get involved as well under the Ishmaelites. But here's the Ottoman Empire. Remember the Roman Empire? It had two capitals. What were they? They were Rome and Constantinople. And we read about the two legs in Daniel and the 10 toes. Oh man, something could be coming. The revived Roman Empire in Constantinople basically never fell from being a city. It just stopped being a city as people moved on at the end of the Byzantine Empire there in like 1433 or something. But this 1453. But this is the extent of the Byzantine Empire, and you can see this is all of the areas that were under the Roman Empire. But look, you got Turkey, Syria, Iraq, all these major players. So we're going to have to keep an eye on that. And then this in the purple, there in the outside orange is the Assyrian Empire in the upper left-hand corner. All the orange went there, Media there to the top of the picture, over to just over Cyprus they conquered. See how it's in orange? They went all the way over there to Egypt. And then they came down through Egypt into like Edom area there of Jordan, and then over to Babylonia there towards the Persian Gulf. But all the area there in the purple, from the Assyria at the top to the entire Arabian Peninsula, that was under the Babylon Empire. So we've got that one as well, but let's keep going because we're almost done. Oh, yeah. I wish this thing would figure itself out. But yeah, here's the Roman Empire. Here's the extent of the Roman Empire. And we know that the prince of the king of to come is there in Romans 9:27. So we've got a lot of things going on, but you know what? I just wanted to show all this stuff because, you know, we've got the outer ring. All these players are starting to come into position. Over here, put on the left-hand side, bottom left, you know, that's Libya and also Algeria. And Algeria is the one that just got those brand new Russian fighter jets. And you've got Cush down there south of Egypt into Sudan and Ethiopia. And they're getting all kinds of weapons. You've got Persia, Iran, you've got Gomer, Tagarma, Tubal. I believe Tubal actually could be in Russia, but the Meshech, Magog, Tubalsky, Rosh, all that is Russia, Turkey, you know, Iran. So we've got all these player groups that are starting to come together. And when we see Israel's wanting, or Turkey's wanting to get all those fighter jets, used fighter jets from Qatar ASAP, I'm like, what? You know, and they're all just getting ready. They're all just getting ready. But we know this big thing is coming, and we know the invasion is coming. But you know what? You too, be patient and stand firm, because the Lord's coming is near. This is James 5 verse 8. Just another great one. You know what? And keep building, even when they laugh, because, you know, our faith does look foolish until the flood comes. So judgment is coming. Be ready. And that's my question to you guys. Are you guys ready? Because we know that Jesus Christ is coming so very soon. His return is right at the door, and now we're talking more and more about Ezekiel 38:39, Turkey's new threat, because they're warning that they're going to take out and they're going to attack Israel, and they're going to take out their nukes. Their Jericho 2 and 3 missiles that are nuclear tipped and whatnot. So we've got all kinds of crazy stuff happening now, and this is all building up, and it feels like it's slow motion some days, and then other days it's like your head is spinning so fast you don't even know where to begin. But this is what I'm talking about, you know. Oh man, guys, this is getting crazy town, but I'm going to keep it short. And actually tonight I'm just going to upload this video, and you know, I need to get some rest, and because I'm going to be heading down to do the live stream with Isaiah tomorrow, so that's going to be a lot of fun. And be sure to check that out. yeah, I can't wait to meet him. And it's always fun meeting my subscribers. So you guys feel free, please, any of you, feel free to reach out to me in the comment section below. Actually, not the comment section. That's fine as well. But in the description box below, towards the bottom, you'll see me where I link at the very bottom to Watchman River Tom and then our boy over there, Keegan Fernandez. Love that both those brothers in the Lord. And there's a bunch of others I want to talk about too. But yeah, my description information is down there. My email, my Google Voice number, all that stuff. So feel free to get a hold of me. I've got, I don't know, 30, I think, subscribers now that have been texting me. And, probably more than that, 40, 50, maybe even or more. And others send emails. But I don't check the emails as much. So feel free to text me at the Google Voice number. But until next time, guys, I will talk at you soon. I'm going to do that tomorrow with Isaiah at 6 p.m. Eastern Time on Sunday. But until then, I'll see you here, there, or in the air. Maranatha. Jesus Christ is coming so soon.